Well, it's my, which I think is vital for most of us at the moment. It's called zeal. And my play on words, I usually make the title up middle of the week. If I get a bit of paper, put zeal, seal, and all things that go with it. And eventually I think that's not working, then the next day something usually comes up. I'm going to take this opportunity because I like to use it. Most of you have heard this before. Charles Fillmore, one of the co-founders of Unity, he wrote this affirmation when he was in his early 90s. Some of you know it, do you?
Yes.
What is it?
Oh, I know.
You can, Reverend Sylvia was going to say it with me. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring with a mighty faith to do. Well, don't do that if you really don't mean it. We've all had a long, cold winter. And I have a little affirmation I use to get myself out of bed. Today is a perfect day. Thy will be done this day. Miracle shall follow miracle, and wonders shall never cease. And I do not allow myself to stay in bed after that. It hurts sometimes. I just throw the blankets off and just get up. Thank goodness for those wonderful things you put around. You get them from the Safeways. What do you call them, a nightgown or something? When you get out of bed, what's the a dressing gown? I've got an absolute fluffy dressing gown, and with that and the floppy shoes, I'm fine. I'm back to normal. Put the coffee on, and then I'm ready for the day. But just that moment, you all know what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. Oh, look, I might live up to that. Now, we had another one over here. This is by our poet laureate. He's been absent for a while, but it's his birthday today, William Owens, and he is 69. And he'll be horrified that I've told you how old he is. He wrote, and I found this in, we used to have a little magazine, or usually come out once a month, but of course with the internet and the weekly email, we don't do that now. And William was our president in 2013. And he wrote this poem. You got to put zeal at the wheel, even though it may seem surreal. This quality, this power is the real deal, so don't conceal your appeal. With or in wholeness, you are the real zeal deal. Wow, come on, feel your inner zeal. Wow, feel it, zeal it. Wow. And those of you that know William know that that is very much him. Very much him. So, zeal, it means being enthusiastic, driven, devotion, especially for something that we are really passionate about. We've been studying the 12 powers. We never stop studying them. But we know with zeal, if we're not careful, it can overtake our life. So we have to balance it out with the other 12. That's why it's good that we don't do it all the time, but we try and have a theme where we include a little bit of the power of the month. And as we become aware of these 12 powers, and there's probably more, but 12 will do for me this lifetime, we become aware that wisdom and love and understanding blend in with zeal. Otherwise, we'll just find ourselves burnt out with this volcanic power. And we all know what it's like when there's something that we're zealous about. We've seen the damage that misplaced zeal can do in politics and for different causes. So we have to be very, very careful with that wisdom. So where did this word originate? And where is it used today? Well, those of you that study the Unity teachings will know that there are a couple of sects in the Bible. There's the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes, but the Essenes aren't mentioned in the Bible. They're later on with those scrolls that were found, the Nag Hammadi scrolls and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, the Zealots were a very nationalistic sect. They combined the practices of the Pharisees who had strict allegiance to the law of Moses, which was very strict. It was the absolute letter of the law, as different from when Jesus came and promoted the spirit of the law with his Beatitudes. So Simon the Canaanian, who is the disciple of the month, is written up in Acts 1 verse 3 and also in Luke as Simon the Zealot. It was those zealots that managed to escape the Romans for a few years. They went to Masada, which is a great big retreat outside near the Dead Sea, overlooking the Dead Sea, and it was the home of King Herod there, or one of his places for a while. They managed to last about 3 years before they were overtaken by the Roman army, but they kept going and kept going. So this power of zeal is vital for us in any undertaking that we do. Speaking of those Nag Hammadi documents, they were discovered in 1945. And from the Gospel of Thomas, I usually quote a little bit from him from time to time. It's just something I'm getting into at the moment, those particular writings. This is pretty powerful. If you bring forth what is in you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is in you, what you are not bringing forth will destroy you. So, putting that in balance, the greatest gift we've got is life, this life. And I saw a photo of a leaf unfolding, and it was the curved bit, and it was going like that. Nothing is going to stop that leaf from unfolding. It's like us, we have to unfold too. But we sometimes get stuck in a place where we think we're not unfolding, and this is it, but that is not so. We all have something that we can be zealous about, zeal. We've all got different gifts. We might all be from the same spirit, but we are all individualized expressions of that one spirit. And as I look around me, I see people that have got some wonderful gifts that we are very grateful to share in, whether it's music or whether it's giving of their time for this wonderful place. Everyone has a gift. Spirit is one, but we are all part of spirit in different degrees. Now, I'm sure we've all come across someone who's given up on life. Some have vitality, will have sadness. I might have mentioned to you the chap I used to know used to play golf. He was very good. One day he got ill, about in his 70s. And I said to him, okay, let's have a game of golf. He said, no. I said, what? He said, no, I'm not in the mood. And he never, ever played another game of golf. Another great concert pianist, friend of mine, they went to the piano for the last time and shut the lid. It's sad, isn't it? That balance that out, though, with our different stages of life. You know, we're young, and we're middle-aged, and we move on and move on. We can't stop that. It's that Ecclesiastes saying there is a time for everything, whether we like it or not. We can't stop it. I'm upset about that, God. We can't stop it. But there's a way out. We know that after this particular form has finished, we're expressing more and more. That's what we have to learn, to express more and more. It may be referred to as the dark night of the soul. Very dramatic phrase, but it's true. We all know when you think, oh, nothing is working. And you just go through life one step after the other, forgetting the birds. And I noticed that when the music was playing today, Jenny, was the most beautiful bird out there. Wasn't it wonderful? We get to hear a lot. And that's probably the first one I can think of the last few months we've been here. I get them in the morning, just before daylight. There's one particular bird, just sings its heart out at the zeal for the day, this beautiful day. I'd love to know what it was saying, but I don't really need to. I just feel the joy in that bird, that wonderful song. even though we may think we don't have a gift or zeal for something, isn't it good when someone can see that in us and quietly steers us in the right direction? Everyone has had people in their life that have come in quietly and just helped us, maneuvered us into a certain spot, and you think, yeah, I like this, I'll do this. I've had that quite a few times in my life. When I was at school, in primary school, I could run, I was very good. But there was a coach, an old football coach, had his eye on me, and he said, I can make you run faster. I thought, oh, okay, I didn't really care, but I got into it, and he showed me how to use the right way of running, according to him, and then I found my own style, which was even more on top of that. But that was a step on the way. And it was great. I became Tasmanian champion of 100 yards and 220s. Now look at me. And I don't think the record has been beaten. The only thing it beat is do we need to jump from the rooftops and yell and scream? Well, some do. As we know, they're really in your face. Yet others go about their business quietly. We're all inspired by the latest charismatic coach or someone that's at the top of their tree. We really get inspired, and there's books coming out as we speak on life. And I think that is fantastic. And I think back to when Jesus said, preach my gospel to the whole world. All he had was his disciples. We've now got the worldwide communication. And bring on the books, bring on all this stuff. The titles are getting more outrageous, but the message is just the same as it was, that ancient wisdom from the beginning. We don't have to be extroverts. I'm actually an introvert, I think. And some of our greatest people have been quietly doing their work behind the scenes. Like, for example, I can't imagine sitting down with Beethoven having a wonderful conversation. He was a pretty rugged old guy, and he just wanted to do his compositions, and so with a few others, whereas Mozart, we believe, was an extrovert. But looking at those paintings of some of the, especially the expressionists, which I love, most of them were just quietly going about their business. But isn't it ironic? Sometimes an introvert with a talent needs an extrovert to get it out there. So there's the balance. In her book, The Power of Introverts, and I have to say, I started to read it, but I didn't read it all. I didn't feel the zeal to go through it all, but I did get a couple of things. The author is Susan Kay, and she writes, the secret to life is to put yourself in the right lighting. For some, it's a Broadway spotlight. For others, a lamp-lit desk. So whether we're out there doing it on the Broadway stage or quietly in our garret in the attic, doing whatever we do so with feeling, and that vibe goes out into the world. The quiet ones, we've seen them here. They just quietly come in, do their duty quietly. And if they didn't do that, we wouldn't have the comforts that we have today, and also the smooth running of little things that happen here. They just come and go quietly. So that's something to think of. We don't have to be out there all the time. So moving on, zeal is the affirmative impulse of existence, and the command is to go ahead. So we do. I haven't been exactly enthusiastic the last 2 years about doing anything different, but I'm starting to feel I need to. So I went through some of my books, and my library angel let this come into my attention. It says, Go beyond the known experience. You are here to experience and explore. Make it a grand adventure, not a limited one. Outside your comfort zone is a reality unknown, and to many of you, it holds fear and uncertainty. How do you not know there is great joy for you elsewhere if you do not step outside your comfort? Be bold, we say. Create unlimited freedom in your lives. You are here for the playing of your game and your incarnation. Make it the most exciting, passionate that you can possibly create for yourself. Be bold, be outrageous, be God in expression. Now, there's no author there, so I just hope I can get away with that. It just flew out of the... I've got so much stuff. I really need to sort it out. It's just become terrible. It's a bit like that cupboard. You know, you just clear it. Don't even think about it. Just get rid of the stuff. Otherwise, you never do. And that reminds me, Wendy, one of your first talks here was on getting rid of junk, wasn't it? Start with one drawer. Yes, that was a powerful day. Yes, yeah. Yes. One shelf, one drawer, walk away. Can we copyright that? Okay. The wisdom of Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. That's very powerful stuff. You won't forget it, will you? Because I've forgotten it already. Have you got it? Good, okay. Okay. Now, as I said, everything has its season, whether we like it or not. And our body is changing, and it will, whether we like it or not. So we may as well get used to it. But we don't have to be conditioned by any demographics. People that use us for marketing, thinking because we're that age, we'll do this for you and do that and all this sort of stuff. And as I said before, I know I'm getting old when I start to enjoy the Seniors magazine. There's some great wisdom in it. I remember looking at that 10 years ago thinking, oh my goodness, it's on, not on sale. They leave it outside shops and things, don't they? So don't see too much of them these days. Anyway, as spiritual beings, we're here to learn how to balance. And I was talking with Glenn about this morning. This is the world of ups and downs, hot, cold, and all that. And it's like this. But as we align ourselves with spirit, it's not quite like that. It's more like that. We tend to flow a little bit more if we can, and we have to do it all the time. It's not something we actually learn, I think, because we change in life. We're always having to work to get that level of equilibrium. So we can go kicking and screaming through life, or we can see it from the soul's journey. And that is the thing I'm most zealous about. I know this is a step on the way, but it is the way for us at the moment. This moment is the only moment we've got. So we store up these treasures in heaven. Well, we've got the books, we've got the people, and we've got life experience, which is the main thing now. And it's not just about us, it's about everyone. One goes, we all go, especially in this time of fun and games, terrible things, everything. It's a mixed up, crazy world, but we can keep centered. And we know with our wonderful meditations that we had this morning, we are linking up with other people in every country, probably in the world, and helping that atmosphere surrounding the earth to radiate more peace as best we can. Now, Divine Spirit seeks this expression, and I've said this before a lot. Yogananda writes that spirit is the dream, an idea. It's God's ideas, they're all there. And matter is it demonstrated. It demonstrates through us. We are all here to demonstrate our unique talents, even by just being here. A poem by Oliver Wendell Holmes from 809 to 1894 was his date. Build thee more stately mansions, O my soul, as the swift seasons roll. Leave thy low vaulted past, but let each temple, nobler than the last, shut thee from heaven with a dome more vast, till thou art free, leaving thine outgrown shell by life's unresting sea. As we are body, mind, and spirit, we are so blessed that we have that link with spirit here in the physical. And we know with zeal, let's use it with the power of wisdom, love, and understanding. Bit of balance here to finish. The poet Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. This was presented to me when I went overseas. Someone gave me a little book of poems, and this one was in it. A person should hear a little music, read a little poetry, and see a fine picture every day of their life, in order that worldly cares may not obliterate the sense of the beautiful which God has implanted in the human soul. So there's some words for us to think of this month as we go through the power of zeal. And we look forward to hearing from our speakers over the month, their perspective on that. Blessings and thank you.